Fitting a bed and workspace for two, a sofa, dining table, and a kitchen into a 20 square meter space can be really challenging, which is why Nicola and Sally, who owns the studio apartment in a quiet town in Bulgaria, reached out to me for advice to design and lay out the space. In this video, I'm going to show you two different solutions along with minor cosmetic and lighting upgrades to ensure that we have both function and style. The apartment is a pied-à-terre, albeit one that is located in a quiet town. Nicola and Sally plan to use this place to retreat for a couple of days each month to unwind from their busy lives in the city. It comprises a hallway, bathroom, and an open-plan kitchen, living, and bedroom measuring approximately 21 square meters. The open-plan room is the one we're looking to work on, which is currently used as a storage unit. The kitchen is outdated as they were installed more than 20 years ago, but Nicola and Sally were not looking to change them at the moment. The biggest challenge with small spaces like this is to determine the most suitable layout that fulfills the needs of the occupants. The good news is that they have a clear sense on what and how they want to use the space, which is usually the first thing I ask people to assess prior to starting a design project. They both work from home part-time and requires two separate workspaces. While Nicola, who is a UX designer, prefers working at a desk, his girlfriend is more flexible and can work from a couch or dining table. They require an area for meal preparation and also relaxation such as reading or playing board games. They are fine with either a bed or sleeper sofa and have no existing furniture to repurpose, so everything will be purchased specifically for this space. And a little extra detail, they both have a shared love for flowers and would like to incorporate them into the space. Another big challenge is light. As the apartment is situated on the ground floor, it receives limited sunlight. Nicola and Sally actually sent me two layouts that they were considering, both of which I think is a great starting point. Between the two, I have preference on the first layout, as I don't think it's intuitive to place the dining area so far away from the kitchen and right beside the bed. And it also has no storage solution, which I think is not ideal. Having said that, I'd like to make changes to the first layout, and I've also come up with an alternative layout which we'll get into shortly. Before we get into them, there's two simple cosmetic changes that I'd like to apply right away. First is painting the walls. This is something I often see in a lot of older places, but the combination of warm yellow tiles and warm timber against a cool tone paint makes those warmer finishes look really old and dirty. So I highly recommend to paint the walls in a warm white color, something like the Benjamin Moore Simply White. Other warm colors can work as well, but I'm simply being mindful of the very limited light, so you may want something with a higher LRV, which is light reflectance value. This will allow the wall and finishes to work harmoniously instead of clashing, which makes the space look smaller. Plus, it will instantly make the tiles and warm timber appear less dated. Color relationship is something I talk about in detail in chapter 2 of my practical home design course, so check it out if you're interested. Second is the curtain. As we're working with a tiny space and one that is not used every day, I thought a roller blind may work better to reduce visual clutter and the ease of maintenance. Curtains, while nice, will take up more space and may get very dusty if left for months without use. The one currently installed doesn't help either, as it looks extremely dated. Now, let's get into the fun part, the layout of the space. Here, I'm proposing two options. One is a more traditional setting with a separate bed and sofa. Ideally, the bed will be something with legs to give that sense of airiness, and I'd like to keep one side of the sofa open-ended to allow for a wider seating space, and also a nice way to be able to stretch your legs. On the opposite side, it will be a combination of a desk, a low cabinet, and a cupboard at the very end for storage. The whole unit will be connected and made from the same material in order to reduce visual clutter and maximize the available space. It can be done with IKEA flat packs, which we'll cover in later parts of this video. The main area is to be divided with a slatted screen, which will be nice for privacy and to avoid the entry opening up directly to the sleeping area. On the empty wall by the door is a foldable table, which will be folded up most of the time to avoid blocking the traffic flow, and folded down whenever it is to be used for dining or even food prep. The second option is more of a multifunctional layout, with a sofa bed or a built-in sofa Murphy bed and a storage unit around it. This can be a custom joinery, but can also be done with IKEA flat packs, which I'll cover in later parts of this video. On the opposite side is a low cabinet with TV, which means that the sleeping and living area are built into one. The sleeping/living area will be divided by a shelving unit with a transparent screen to allow light through, and the bottom section acts as a very useful storage unit for the dining area beside it. This way you can get both storage and separation, plus a surface that acts like a bedside table. Opposite the dining space will be the work desk. To maximize the available space, I thought a slim shelving by the door will make for a nice addition to store large pans and small appliances like mixers, or perhaps can even be used for anything flower related as they both have a shared passion for it. For the first traditional layout, here's what it looks like. The main living and sleeping area is completely open, which makes it feel very spacious. I added a ledge by the window which can be useful as a bedside table, and it can also be a great way to integrate a panel heater in there. Everything here is done with D5 Render, who is the kind sponsor of today's video. D5 Render is a real-time 3D visualization tool to help bring our ideas to life. It has a very intuitive interface with a huge asset library of over 13,000 models and materials that you can customize, which helps simplify the process of visualizing your space, and everything is done in real time so you can get instant feedback and iterate much more quickly. It is easy to play around with textures and materials, and there's lots of lightings and shadow effects to help you produce realistic results. D5 also has seamless integration with all the major design softwares, SketchUp, Revit, Rhino, AutoCAD, and many more. So whether you're a designer, architect, landscaper, or homeowner looking to do renovations, D5 is a great tool that can seamlessly integrate into your workflow. They've also integrated some very useful AI features, such as the AI Enhancer, which helps automatically enhance the details in a render so you don't have to go to another app for fine-tuning. The best part is you can actually download and use D5 Render for free with no time limit, so check it out below using the link in the description. Thanks to D5 Render for sponsoring today's video. By the sofa, you'll notice a side table, and I like the idea of getting a laptop side table instead of a regular one, where the legs are typically in the middle, as it allows the flexibility to be used for working more comfortably on the sofa, which is one of the requirements outlined early on. This can then be layered with either an ottoman or shorter coffee table, similar to how a nesting table works, as they mention needing a place to play board games. The joinery on the opposite end is interesting. My idea is to have them connected end to end in order to maximize space and reduce visual clutter. This means you can have a tall storage cupboard which can be useful for clothes, jackets, or bulkier stuff. Then you have the standard low storage unit which can be used to keep board games, electronics, or things like cushions and throws. I purposely kept the desk simple with floating shelves so it is visually lightweight, and kept the floor-to-ceiling cabinet at the very end so the space felt more open and airy. This whole unit can technically be done on a budget with the IKEA Plaza series, especially the custom cupboard and low cabinet configuration. Once you've confirmed the configuration, get a custom cut panel on top to cover up the joints and provide a seamless look. We can then use the same material as the panel for the desk, cut to size to fit perfectly on whatever space is left. Lighting is always important to me, so a few small additions that are easy to make will be replacing the middle light with a huge ambience pendant that casts light in all directions. So something in a linen shade would be nice. A desk lamp on the desk for working, and perhaps a pair of wall sconces on both sides of the bed. The sconce on the right side can function both for the bed and couch. This should be flexible enough for most needs, but you can always add additional sources should you need to. In my opinion, having more lighting options is always better than not having enough. Beside the couch, I added a slatted screen, since the main area is completely open. I think it's nice to have some kind of separation from the door. A foldable room divider can also be a good budget alternative. The remaining empty space is where the dining area will be. As mentioned before, it is going to be folded up most of the time so it won't interfere with traffic flow. This is great if you're only spending 15 to 30 minutes for meals, as it opens up more space for the living and sleeping area, instead of taking half the space for something that is only used for 5% of the day. For the second multifunctional layout, we have a combined sleeping and living area, with either a Murphy sofa bed or a separate storage unit with standard sofa bed. We can utilize the IKEA method or section kitchen cabinet to make the custom storage unit around the sofa bed. The shallower 37cm depth is perfect for this, as we don't want the unit to be too bulky. Get the narrow 200cm x 40cm high cabinet and a couple of wall units, all with the same doors, whatever it is you choose. The tricky part will be getting it all the way to the ceiling, but there's a couple of options. One is a bulkhead, so you simply bring the ceiling down to meet the joinery. Second is to bring the joinery all the way up as close to the ceiling as possible and then cover up the remaining gap. This can work if your ceiling is a standard 2.4 meter or 8 feet tall, but anything higher I'll advise against as the upper cabinet will be unusable anyway. Beside it is a storage unit, with the doors opening outwards to the dining area. This can be great for additional storage, and we can use the surface like a ledge that acts as a bedside table. The divider can be built using some pine wood and acrylic panels, both of which are lightweight and affordable. I chose a round dining table here to add some softness so it is not too rigid and angular. But if a larger surface area is needed, a rectangular table tucked to the wall can also be an option. I also added an arm wall sconce by the dining table, which I think is a nice addition to light up the dining area. On the opposite side is the work desk and storage unit and TV. Then, a slim shelving by the door for additional storage, which can also be used for their love of flowers. In either kitchen, due to the very limited space, I think a kind of rolling kitchen island can be quite useful, which can be moved out occasionally for extra working surface. The entryway can be kept in a way that they've suggested, which I think is a great use of space. As you can see, there are various ways you can lay out a space, and it doesn't always have to compromise on style, function, or comfort. If you haven't already, definitely check out the first 2 episodes of our Design Dilemma series. In these episodes, we look at narrow dining rooms, tricky living room layouts, small studio apartments, entryways in kitchens, and how to work around awkward nooks. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.